What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. As you can see by the title and the thumbnail of this video, we're going to be breaking down Alex Hormozi's ascension ladder tier by tier, how he takes someone from consuming his free content on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, to even an equity play somewhere down the line. The thing about Alex Hormozi doing over $200 million per year, which if you didn't know, he's doing around $200 million per year with his info business, is nobody really talks about how he's actually doing $200 million per year. And the second thing is the business model in which he's doing $200 million per year is very replicable for almost any office. So by the end of this video, you'll first of all know how to build an ascension ladder if you don't already have one. If you do have one, it's going to show you the next tiers you should add in, and this is going to help you increase your LTV by 3 to 5x. So I hope you guys are excited. I am. Let's get into it. Okay guys, why do ascension ladders even matter? The first thing is that most info businesses sell one offer to one type of buyer at one price point. The result is a leaky bucket because you spend money to acquire a customer, you sell them one offer and then they're gone. You never sell them anything ever again. An ascension ladder solves this by giving the buyer natural next steps, and each one funds the marketing of the tier below it. The economics of why this actually matters. An info business with a 5k offer needs to keep CAC under 1.5k to maintain healthy margins. After you've dealt with your refunds and chargebacks, which is usually around 5 to 10%, if you have a bad offer, this can get a hell of a lot higher. But if you have a good one, it'll typically be a bit lower, maybe sub 5%. After your sales team commissions, which is 10% for a closer and 5% for a setter, so 15% total, and your fulfillment cost, which can really add up to quite a bit, you're only left with around $2,500 to $3,000 in gross profit per sale. And now, if you're spending $1,500 to acquire that customer, you're only netting around $1,000 to $1,500. And everyone talks about info because it's one of the most profitable businesses out there because the margins are so high. But when it looks like this, it doesn't seem as profitable. The margins, or when your margins are thin, there's no room to actually scale aggressively. A 5-tier ascension offer, like Hormozi does, which I'll be showing you in just a second, with a 5k core offer can spend $5,000 or more to acquire that same customer because the backend will produce another $20,000 to $50,000 from them over time. Now, your effective LTV isn't 5k, it's more like 25 to 50k. Now, before you click off this video because you think, I could never make 25k to 55k per customer, just stay a little longer because I'll be giving a few examples of how different offers could actually do this, like e-com, Amazon, AI trading, agency, even a fitness coaching offer could do this. LTV is the exact reason that most info businesses cap out at 5 to 6 figures per month because they're constrained by front-end economics. Now, on to Alex Hormozi. All of his free content, his top of funnel content from his YouTube channel, all his books like $100 million leads, $100 million offers, his Instagram, his TikTok, even his Spotify podcasts, this is not marketing. It's just the first tier of his ascension ladder. Every piece of content that he posts builds trust and qualifies his viewer. The free content isn't free because, like I said earlier, it's paid for by the tiers above it. But this is how he outspends his competitors. The back end funds the front end. He can give away content that his competitors have to charge thousands of dollars for, and he's just trying to capture attention. Every viewer who consumes a free video is one step closer to buying a book. Every reader of the book is one step closer to attending the workshop. Every workshop attendee is one step closer to the high ticket, and this is a tier that 99% of offer owners will always get wrong. His low ticket or entry capture, which are all three of his books, are not designed to make any money. Although Hormozi did do $106 million with a launch, this is the cleverest part of it all because he's not looking to make all that money with his books, but it's everything above that where he makes the real money. But they're designed to do three things. The first is they capture identity. When you buy a book, you've now identified yourself as someone who runs a business. It also builds a ton of trust because reading a book gives you 10 times more face time, not literally, but it gives you 10 times more face time to build trust than any piece of content ever will. A lot of you guys have probably heard the statistic that in order for someone to make a high ticket purchase with you, they need to watch 7 hours worth of your content. This is also the reason that cold traffic for a high ticket purchase usually have much lower show rates and close rates because they haven't actually built any trust with you. They haven't been nurtured by you, they haven't spent enough time with you, and they just don't like you that much as a person. It pre-sells the workshop. Throughout the book, Hormozi references the workshops. By the end of the book, you are sold on the workshops. This tier converts casual content watchers or readers or content consumers into buyers at very low risk to the buyer. Once someone has paid for and read the book, the next step feels very natural. This is where most offer owners will go wrong because they expect their audience to go straight from content to a 5K offer. And no, your half-assed lead magnet that you post every 5 months is just not going to cut it. The scaling workshop at $5,000, otherwise known to me as the activation tier, it runs twice a month at the acquisition.com headquarters in Las Vegas, and they have roughly 100 attendees per workshop, which means if they're running it twice monthly equals 24 workshops per year, which is approximately 2,400 attendees annually. And at $5,000 per ticket, that's roughly $12 million from this tier alone. But here is why Hormozi is a genius. The workshop still isn't done to make any money on its own. As we go through this ascension ladder, you guys are going to learn that basically until we get up to the apex tier, none of the tiers before that are made to make any money. It's just designed to ascend people to the next tier. Day 1 ends with a pitch for the L2 workshop, and then day 2 ends with another pitch. But by the end of the 2 days, roughly 25% of the room signs up for the L2 at $35,000. This tier is doing 2 jobs simultaneously. First of all, it's profitable on its own at $12 million per year, and that's the qualification mechanism for the next tier. This still isn't where Hormozi makes his money though. The L2 workshop at $35,000, this is the core high ticket offer, but it still isn't where Alex Hormozi makes most of his money. The L2 workshop is just 2 more days at the acquisition.com HQ in a smaller group with the acquisition.com operating team, originally priced at $45,000 but discounted to $35,000. But let's look at it this way. If 25% of the L1 attendees ascend to L2, that's roughly 480 people per year multiplied by $35,000, which is approximately $16.8 million per year from this tier alone. But the thing that almost nobody realizes is this third tier serves a completely different purpose aside from making a ton of money. It's also free due diligence. Every L2 attendee is being evaluated as a potential portfolio investment by tier 5 or for tier 5, but this is genius vertical integration. The private equity investment tier 5 or the apex for businesses doing anywhere between $3 million to $10 million in revenue. I'm sure if a business comes in, they're doing more than $10 million, they'll definitely work with them. But acquisition.com will then take an equity stake in their business. They make around 3 to 5 of these investments every year, but a single equity stake in a business doing $10 million annually that scales to $50 million is worth tens of millions of dollars in equity value. But the brilliance of this all is that Alex Hormozi is not chasing these deals. The pipeline of qualified potential investments is filtered by the ascension ladder below it. If you're an offer owner watching this and you think to yourself, I'd never want to take equity in one of my students' businesses, then I think we all know what the problem is. You're not teaching anything substantial enough to want any part of a student's business. But obviously this tier is only applicable to a few offers like maybe e-com and Amazon. Now, a lot of you guys are probably sitting here thinking, how the hell do I go about applying this in my own offer? But it's a lot more simple than you may think. There are 5 things that most ascension ladders need. Not all ascension ladders need all 5 tiers. 3 is usual, especially if it doesn't make sense to have an apex tier. For example, if you have a trading offer, you probably don't want to take a revenue share or some sort of stake deal in someone's trading portfolio. If you have an online fitness coaching business, you can't take an equity deal in their fitness coaching success. There's just, you have to use your discretion here. I think the framework here is very, very valuable. So just use your discretion, take what you think needs to be used and implement it. Anyway, the first tier is a free tier that builds trust. This is things like free content. Like for Alex Hormozi, it was this YouTube, his short form content, his podcast, and a lot of you guys are probably posting short form content and maybe even have a YouTube channel. So you already have this, you probably aren't posting the right content that provides value, but anyway, that's a story for another time. Then we have lead magnets and free course communities. Anything where value is being provided without charge. A lot of you guys might struggle with this because you're putting a ton of effort into building out this free value content, these lead magnets, these free course communities, but realistically, it's going to make you a lot more money in the long run. So you have to be patient, you have to be willing to put in the work, and yeah, you'll make a lot more money in the long run. An entry capture tier is the next one at $20 to $200 to filter out buyers from free value hunters. This is the single most important tier when it comes to conversion rates at high ticket price points. Then we have an activation tier at $2,000 to $10,000. A lot of people usually have their core offer at around this price point, but truly there's so much more money to be made beyond this. This tier just delivers a transformation and it filters out for the next tier. Then we have the real high ticket offer at $10,000 to $50,000. That monetizes the most committed buyers and serves as a screening mechanism for the apex tier, if applicable. And then the apex tier, a lot of you guys don't have to listen here, but it'd be interesting anyway. Equity or partnership, this is the turning point for most info businesses because this is where the most money can be made, but most offers are not confident enough in the results that their offer produces. Okay, now what will this actually look like for a normal offer? Let's take a step back from Alex Hormozi for a second because he's far from normal. Let's use a normal offer. It doesn't matter what your business opportunity is, the structure will stay the same. The first is free content. You're already doing this, I hope. But the problem is most offer owners go wrong here because they provide very little value and mainly post lifestyle content, motivational content, and random business advice. My philosophy is that you should be posting 85% of your content talking specifically to your business opportunity in some way or another. Then the next tier is entry capture or the low ticket offer. A mini course, a paid webinar, a newsletter, a digital playbook. A real example of this would be like, if you have an SMA offer, your tier 2 might be a $47 cold email playbook, and every person who buys that playbook has now self-identified as someone running an SMMA. Then the third tier is the activation tier at $3,000 to $10,000. This is your core offer. This would be a mentorship, a course with coaching, a group program, something where they get one-to-one access with you as the offer owner or a client success manager. Then the real high ticket offer priced at $10,000 to $30,000. It is strategically priced at 3 to 5x higher than the core offer. A real example of this tier is only for people who got a real result and want more. It should go without saying that someone who didn't get a result at your core offer would not want more. You'd be lucky if you don't get a chargeback if someone doesn't get a result. This offer has to be done for you or done with you. It cannot be do it yourself. Most offer owners will look at this and they think, I'm crazy. They say no one will ever pay me $10,000 to $30,000 after already paying me 3 to 7K. But there will always be someone who wants more access, more depth, or more speed. Then the next tier is the apex tier. For most businesses, this won't be private equity. For example, this would be a rev share with 1 to 2 of your top clients per year. Anyway, the takeaway here, guys, is in order to implement this, you need 3 things. The first is if you do not have a validated offer, an offer that actually gets people real results, then I wouldn't even think about building out some sort of ascension ladder. Focus on building out an offer that actually gets people real results. The next is a work ethic, because obviously this is going to take time to build out, and if you don't have someone doing it for you, it's going to take a lot of time. Anyway, an understanding on how to implement this and the structure of it. But guys, I appreciate you watching. I hope you like my little photo here, and I'll see you in the next one. That's the framework, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you're an offer owner and you have a real offer that gets people real results, but you're also doing at least $10,000 per month, then shoot me a DM on Instagram and we'll basically have a little chat about your offer, see if I can help you in any way. If we don't end up working together, I can provide you with some value. Also, if you don't want to do that, then check out my free diagnostic tool, link in the description. It'll basically audit your current strategy, your funnel, and give you some tips, or more so, a scaling roadmap to get to 6 figures per month. So guys, I appreciate you watching this video. Also, if you want to check out the Instagram, link in the description. I've been dropping a ton of value there, to be honest. So if you want to go check me out there, then go ahead, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.